Yo, what's going on, guys? Mr. Bobcat here. I am super excited to show you the new Path A and B, Arc 3 and 4 Fire Spellments for the spring update. Special thanks to King's Hour for the opportunity. Without further ado, let's jump right into these insane spells, starting off with number 1. Right now in PvP, Fire from Above is a triple dot for 6 turns that adds a 20% fuel to your opponent, which isn't a great move in most matches, only because of the 2 shad cost and can be easily countered by Stormzilla or Earthwalker, which makes it a difficult move to pull off successfully, and the fuel that is added on will be removed by the overtimes. But the new FFA for PvP is the first time we have ever seen a hit and double trap. The traps are 55%. We have other spells like Catch of the Day, Grim Reader, Ice Golem, Pixie. It's been a long time coming for Fire to get a hit and double trap for PvP. Because of the many combos you can pull off with this spell, I'm excited to see what people come up with and how this spell will shake up the meta. As for the top path for FFA, if you guys remember when Darkmoor first came out, FFA was a hit and fuel. So in the spring update for PvE, Fire from Above will go back to being a hit and fuel, but not doing as much damage as it used to. But it's still really cool to see that they're going back to their roots. Let's move on to the next spell. Raging Bull currently in Live Realm costs 2 shat, and is a hit and detonate just like the spell Troll or Apocalypse. It's basically unusable for its lack of damage and only detonates 1 dot. But in the spring update, we see Raging Bull having a huge buff. It's unlike any spell I've seen so far. It's a hit and triple dot detonate and adds 160% damage. This is crazy to see on a spell. We have seen spells like Troll do percent damage added on if he had a shield, but Raging Bull is almost an incendiate. With a spell like this, I see Fire being really good in the next meta. It makes hanging damage over times a muster move with spells like a Mute's Fury. The fact that this is 6 pips and a shad allows Fire Wizards to do these 2 moves back to back, doing massive amounts of damage in just 2 turns. For the top path Raging Bull, it goes back to what it used to be when it first came out, an AoE hit and mantle and adding more damage at max tier. This update is putting some mad respect on Raging Bull. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Is this spell too busted, or is it finally time for Fire to dominate PvP? Alrighty, up next on the list we have Scorching Scimitar. Right now in Live Realm, this is a 4-pip shad that does 876 damage that divides over multiple targets. It is one of the best looking spells in the game in my opinion, but Scorching in the spring update, just like Fire from Above, also being a hit and double trap, but these are 2 universal 40% traps and is 430 damage at max tier. Both FFA and Scorching are an upgrade from Fire's Brimstone Revenant, being only a hit and single trap, making the combos with this spell insanely good. The top path for Scorching does up to 905 damage, making it a good shad for PvE content. If you guys are liking the video so far, please drop a like and subscribe as it helps out my channel a lot. Thank you guys so much, and let's move on to the next one. Up next on the list we have Scion of Fire, which in PvE it does ×2 damage for having 6 traps, and for PvP it does a double overtime for 5 turns. If you had 3 dot conditional on your opponent, it would do 1605 damage. In the spring update, we see a buff to this spell at max tier. It adds 75 more damage for the same pip cost, doing a total of 1680 base damage. For PvE, the top path stays the same as in Live Realm, just adds extra damage as you go up in tiers. If you had the PvP only versions trained, it will automatically give you the bottom path tier 2 version, and if you were to reset it, you get 75 spellments back. Next on the list we have Blast Off. This spell is one of Fire's worst spells at the moment in Live Realm, having 3 deferred bombs that go off after 6 turns, and only adds 1 additional turn to an overtime, which this spell never gets used because deferred overtimes give your opponent enough time to counter a move like that. But in the spring update, it is now a hit first and 1 deferred overtime after 4 turns. As for the top path, it is only 1 deferred OT that goes off after 4 turns and still adds an additional round to an overtime. In my opinion, I feel like this spell won't be used in either PvP or PvE, but let me know what you guys think about Blast Off in the spring update. For the moment you guys have all been waiting for, S'more Machine is the best fire shadow spell for PvP in Live Realm, which does a whopping 980 damage to 1100 damage, and it adds a 35% dot fuel to your opponent. Every Fire uses the shadow spell in PvP, which makes this the most important spell for Fire this update, and let's see how it changes. S'more Machine in the spring update is totally different from what it is in Live Realm. It is now a double overtime for 4 turns that totals 860 damage at max tier, and also gives 1 heal overtime to yourself for 4 turns, which I don't see Fire Wizards using this spell because Fire doesn't have any outgoing stats for healing. S'more Machine now is a fancy glimpse of infinity that can heal at the same time. The top path for S'more is a huge hit for PvE content at max tier. It does a minimum of 1270 damage to 1390, which can be useful in some boss fights. That is all for me, guys. Let me know what you guys think about the new Path A and B spellment paths coming in the spring update. I look forward to reading all your comments, and as always, I'll see you guys next time. Later.